Hello, mixtresses and mixters. This is Mixtress Ray. You're watching Mixtress Video. Gonna spray some Drusilla around. This is a perfume you can get on Etsy that's based on Drusilla the Vampire from Buffy. And it's really good. It's a strange mix of like jasmine and mint. I mean, it has other notes in it too, but it's just like, it's almost wrong, but like I've fallen in love with it anyway. Anyway, okay. This is not about perfumes. If you guys want me to show you my perfume collection, it's another thing I nerd out about. Okay, guys. So today we're doing an unfair comparisons between Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot and Dark Goddess. So I just got this Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot 2 days ago, and I was thinking, and I was just like staring at my collection like, what even is this like? This deck isn't really like anything else that I have. It's based on Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's not really. Here's the box. Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot. It's beautiful. Oh my god, I gotta show you the inside. Look at that. I love hands. I just really love hands. Both of these decks have, I haven't gotten too far into the guidebook for this since I've only had it like less than 48 hours. But it seems pretty good. It seems like sort of unique interpretations of the cards, but it still is Rider-Waite-Smith based. Okay, I want to light this candle. Sorry, I didn't sleep that well last night, so I actually got up super early when I didn't have to because I'm off today. Don't you hate that when it's like, I can sleep in, but then you don't? But then you can't. Okay, so I want to do like a little bit, I thought that this might actually be kind of a fair comparison. The art styles are completely different, but both of these are like dark goddesses. This one is more specific, like I want to do like a little bit more of a review than I usually do, more than just flipping through the cards. So as you can see with this Dark Goddess Tarot, there's a specific goddess assigned to each card. This one is mass produced, so you can get this one right now for like $30 or so. And it has a fucking incredible guidebook. I'm not going to be able to get it on the screen here. It comes in one of those boxes, kind of like the Llewellyn boxes, where it's like a full-size guidebook. And then the cards, it's a really annoying box, so I already got rid of it. But the guidebook is fucking spectacular. Again, I'm not really going to be able to show you. But each card has like a Llewellyn. You get like the full-size page of the artwork. And you get quite a bit of information, but it's not too much information, if that makes sense. So you get both a description of the energy of the goddess and the card, and then you get a little section, that's the part you can see here, when La Llorona, I'm not saying that perfectly, but it's close. When La Llorona appears. And it's just really, really powerful. I've been using this deck, Dark Goddess, as my like daily draw deck, or not daily draw, monthly. So I'm using it like I have a card for each month from the year that I picked, you know, back in like late December last year. And okay, I guess we can go ahead and get started. So just and it's just been really effective to use that way. So they're both kind of Rider-Waite-Smith based. This one leans less on the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery as far as like comparing cardstock. So this one is, you can get it, I'll show you the information here. This is, I think it's Eye of Astro is her site, Lindsay Silverman. So this one's quite a bit more expensive because you order it directly from the artist, and this one's more affordable, being mass market. This one has thicker and bigger cardstock. So the Intuitive Night Goddess, this is a standard tarot size. And as you can see, this one, it's a little bit bigger. I didn't actually even notice necessarily that it's bigger. These cards are very glossy, and these are beautiful matte. Like, the cardstock is definitely better on the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot, but again, you are paying for that. So if it's purely based on budget, this one, okay, sorry, I'm doing this like all weird. So this one has specific goddesses for the energy of each card, as you will see. And this one has like more general goddess energy. Like, it's just a goddess energy. You're not necessarily going to recognize a specific goddess. Sometimes you might a little bit, but you don't have to. Like, this one's more like you can assign whatever goddess to whatever card that you want. Whereas this one is specific goddess energy. So I feel like with this one, it's easier to like learn mythology, goddess mythology through using this deck. Whereas this one is more just like an aesthetic Rider-Waite-Smith based goddess aesthetic. You know what I'm saying? And this one is collage style, and this one's art, just drawn art, of course. As you can see, a lot of cards are renamed in, a lot of the major arcana is renamed in Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot. Most of them are the same in the major arcana in Dark Goddess. The court cards are renamed in both of these decks. So I will show you, except for the queens in this deck. The queens are the same in this deck, but the other court cards are all renamed in both of these decks. And I will show you when we get there how that works. And yeah, so I mean, there's a big price difference between these two decks. This one is more, the cardstock is more like, it's a slightly more flexible version of like a Liminal 11 cardstock, like the Modern Witch or one of those. It's easier to shuffle than that, but it is kind of like thicker, stiffer, glossy. They're both edged in gold. And it's both of them, it's like the mirrored gold kind of gold. I'm just going to take a little section to show you. But with Dark Goddess, it's the traditional kind of mirrored gold. And with Intuitive Night Goddess, it's smoother. It's like a slightly more matte, but it's still like a mirrored gold finish. And as you can see, it's held up. I mean, I've only had this deck for 2 days, but with this Dark Goddess deck, I have had it a couple months, but I haven't used it that much. So it was actually really damaged. The gilding was really damaged just out of the box, honestly. Okay, let me just shut up and start. I was going to try to do like a more traditional, like actually comparing prices, cardstocks, backings, like energies from the deck, but sorry. It sounds really clunky and I don't think I did it very well. Sorry, guys. Let's just start flipping through the cards. So first of all, the water company is outside my house with a giant like claw thing, so I don't know how noisy it's gonna get, but let's just go for it. So as you can see, Fool has been renamed as Potential, and we have Sheila Nagig for the Fool card in Dark Goddess. I really like the choice of having Isis as the Magician, and I love the renaming of Magician to be the Witch. That really works for me. There's a lot of like, I was going to say third eye, but that's not a third eye. That's like a bendy. Never mind. But there is a lot of third eyes in the artwork, and I'm really digging this. I actually don't have the artwork, as you can see, in this Dark Goddess. I'm going to get out my little pointer. The artwork, as you can see in Dark Goddess, is, Intuitive Night Goddess. This one's Dark Goddess. Is very like vintage looking. And I can't even like really like put my finger on like what era of vintage this is. I would say like late 1800s, maybe even. It's kind of like Victorian era vintage, but it does still have a goddessy feel to it. Black Madonna as Empress here. Honestly, if I was just comparing art style, Intuitive Night Goddess is gorgeous to me. I really like it. I feel like it's not focusing. Is it not focusing? There we go. That's much better. But I don't think I would consider getting rid of Dark Goddess because it's, even though I don't love the art style, it's really profound, especially with the guidebook. And I love goddesses. I have a lot of goddess decks. So I feel like I can learn a lot from this deck. And as a bonus with Dark Goddess, you can get an app for your phone where you can do a daily draw, you can see all of the cards, and it's like $4. So you don't even need to, like, even though this is the cheaper version since it's mass market, you don't even need to buy the whole deck if you don't want to. Hierophant has been renamed the Mystic, which is interesting. That's not really how I think of Hierophant energy, but okay. And both of these lovers cards have just one person in them. The guidebook was really interesting for this Wayfarer card. It was really beautiful. There was the guidebook, it does a pretty good job, Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot, of like describing the symbolism in the cards. Like there was a reason for the fruits in one arm and the snake on the other. There was a reason for there being like the mountains and Jupiter over on this side of the path. So like the idea was that, you know, either you can choose this easier path here, but it's not as interesting, or you can choose this harder path here. And either way, it's a journey back to self. And so that was kind of the idea. Instead of being lovers, like literal lovers, it was a journey back to yourself. It was like integration of self, which is kind of how I see the lovers card anyway. So that works for me. And I think this one's super cute too with Freya and the cats. Got Ishtar for the Chariot. And all kind of animals going on over here. It's a weird looking lion. An ostrich. It's cool. The art is like, it's complex in Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot. Like I feel like you could really spend some time with these cards. These are also going to be beautiful cards just to have like out as like card of the day and stuff like that. I like both of these. This one's, I'm a little sad that there's not an animal of some kind in this strength card. But her face, like, she looks like a grown-up version of my niece. Her face looks so much like my niece. It's crazy. She's gonna look like that whenever she's like 25. Which is like 15 years from now. I don't love, like, pretty much aesthetically, I don't like Dark Goddess. I don't really like the art. I like the font down here, but I don't like that it seems like a different kind of font up here, and I don't like this weird like aged looking border. Sorry if you do, but like, and then the fact that the cards are thick and super glossy, I don't like. And I don't like the mirror gold finish on the edges. I don't like that kind of finish at all. And I also, anytime you get, okay, this is just a personal thing, but anytime it's like a gothic deck or a moon deck or a goddess deck, personally, I think they should be edged in silver. Goddess is silver energy, you know, not gold. I guess it's a current obsession in our culture with gold. There's an obsession with gold right now. And eventually we'll come back to silver. And when that happens, I will embrace it fully because I'm a silver person. Ma'at. So I feel like you have a lot of different energies to choose from. If for some reason you're deciding between these two decks, you know, do you want more specific goddess energy or simpler goddess energy? Do you need a deck that's more affordable? That's this one. which is the art style that you like. Although for me, like, I don't like this art style, like I said, but I really like the deck anyway. This Intuitive Night Goddess deck it's kind of like what I wanted Dreamkeepers, Tarot of the Dreamkeeper, I might be getting the name slightly off, Dreamkeepers Tarot. It's what I wanted that one to be. It kind of has a similar strangeness and in its collage style, but that one I just couldn't ultimately resonate with. There were certain aspects of it that I just couldn't get on board with as far as the art style. Whereas this one is, I love this devil card too. Reclamation. I love those bat wings. You guys, I'm getting bat wings tattooed on my back on Friday. So if you're watching this the day that this video goes live, 2 days from now. Revolution. This one also came with 2 little stickers, one for Revolution and what was the other card? Hold please. Justice. The other card was Justice. So this truly is, like, as far as actually pitting each of these cards up against each other, it truly is an unfair comparison. I really appreciate, I've realized lately that something that's important to me is numerology and Rider-Waite-Smith symbolism. It's just kind of important to me that I see a lot of that. So I really appreciate that this Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot has most of the RWS symbolism while still being like a somewhat strange collage-y goddess deck. And even like renaming most of the major arcana cards, it still really works for me. Coatlicue. Oh, I think this is just perfect. Vesta being Ace of Fire. So in the Dark Goddess Tarot, the suits are all renamed for the elements. And they're all just traditional in Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot. But as you can see, there are actually like wands in each card. The numerology is pretty consistent in Dark Goddess Tarot, I've noticed as well, but it's just like something different in each card is depicting the element, which is fine, but just for my own brain, I like more simplicity. So I actually do not use Dark Goddess Tarot as a tarot deck. I don't use it for like spreads and readings. I use it for goddess reference and card reference, you know. Or if you order a reading from me, I sometimes will use it as the like message from your ghosts, guides, and goddesses, because I'm both pulling a tarot card and a goddess for you whenever I pull one of these cards. So it's I keep it actually in my little on my tarot shelf that I use for clients. So it's easy to grab. Now that I said it's usually consistent with the numerology. Nope, not in this card. There's not 4. I mean, I guess there's 1, 2, 3, 4. But this is like the ground, so that's not even, yeah. Anyway. I don't love this 5 of Wands because this looks like a 5 of Swords to me. But just my personal preference. This is a deck, Intuitive Night Goddess is a deck that I will use as a tarot deck. Because again, it's not specific goddess energy, and it employs a lot of the Rider-Waite-Smith symbolism, and it has the numerology that I need to see in cards. Love Durga as the Seven of Wands. And there's a lot of goddesses that I've never heard of in Dark Goddess. So that's exciting to me that I get to learn about new goddesses with this deck. And I think if you're a tarot person that wants to get into like more goddess study, but you don't really want to buy goddess oracle decks, Dark Goddess would probably be a good choice for you. Because you get to like dip your toe in the energy of 78 different goddess archetypes, you know? Okay, so now that we're at the court cards, here's how it's done in both of these decks. Okay, so Page is Nymph in Intuitive Night Goddess, and Amazon in Dark Goddess. Knight is Warrior in Intuitive Night Goddess, and Siren in Dark Goddess. Queen stays the same in Intuitive Night Goddess, and it is Witch in Dark Goddess. King has been renamed Spirit in Intuitive Night Goddess, and Hag in Dark Goddess. I really like the renaming in Intuitive Night Goddess. It's almost like I want to start just calling them that from all of my decks. Like Warrior? Yes. Yes, please. Yes, please, Warrior as Knight. Because Warrior is a more genderless term. I mean, Knight, I guess Knight is genderless too, but I just, you know, for some reason, just like thinking of Knight, you automatically think of male energy. But I love Witch. So, like, I feel like I would love to just, like, start calling Page Nymph, start calling Knight Warrior, start calling Queen Witch, and then start calling King Spirit. I really, really love the King/Spirits in this deck. I love the idea that, like, if you're ascending through the court cards, the final neck of that journey of ascension is just being a spirit. You've moved on from this earth. You know everything that you need to know as a spirit, and all of the spirits in this deck have these gorgeous glowing eyes, and they're just sort of haunting spirits. I love that so much. I didn't know that I needed that, but like just reconceptualizing the king energy in this way is so far the most significant thing I'm taking away from this deck, but I've only had it, again, less than 48 hours. The cups stay pretty consistent within Intuitive Night Goddess as well. They're usually these silver ornate cups. I'm a little like, it throws me seeing scales in a Two of Cups, just because, you know, my brain automatically goes to Libra. But I'll get used to it. It's just kind of like those things that that stick out to you when you first get a deck. Like eventually you get used to the deck and they become less important. Both of these are gorgeous Three of Cups. I love them both. Especially because, you know, I like hands. I really like that Intuitive Night Goddess one. I really like that one when a collage deck chooses to find one consistent symbol. Like in the wands of this deck, it was all that like glowing energy, sort of lightsaber looking thing. And in the cups, it's all these ornate silver cups. Which ornate silver cups? Why didn't you make the edges silver? Come on, man. I love this one too. I ended up giving my Tarot of the Divine to a friend. So it also had La Llorona as the Five of Cups. But I prefer this version. It feels more authentic to the story of La Llorona, which I might be getting that wrong because it's not my culture, but yeah. Gorgeous. This looks more like a Six of Swords to me for some reason. So again, I'm not going to be using Dark Goddess as a regular tarot deck, but you might see it in readings that you get from me because I like using it as the message from your ghost guides and goddesses. There's a lot of diversity in both of these decks. It's more authentic cultural diversity in this deck, whereas a lot of cards in this deck, it's not completely obvious, but sometimes it looks like, not in this card, but sometimes in Intuitive Night Goddess, it looks like a depiction of a traditionally white, like the artwork probably started out as a white woman, and the skin has been darkened, but in a lot of those cases, it's coming from cultures where the skin should have been darker to begin with. So I don't think that I don't see it as like an offensive representation. I'd love to know if you see it that way in this deck. But either way, you get a lot of varying cultures in both of these decks. I love this Nine of Cups. It's so beautiful. This is one of my favorite cards so far in this deck. Love the Ten of Cups too. See, like here, like you get, you know, this is the traditional like Venus image, Aphrodite or whatever. I don't know the difference. You know that piece of art that this is from. Her skin has been significantly darkened, and I don't know how to feel about that. Like my instinct is I love it, but I'm just curious to know what you guys think about that. And she has a little third eye added. And there's lots of good animal energy in this Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot, which is always something that I'm looking for. I just love that. I just love the idea of spirit instead of king. Okay. Sorry, I'm sure you heard the beginning of that siren. Nothing is wrong. That was just the testing that happens every Wednesday at 10 a.m. It's so early for me. Like usually on a day off, I sleep until 10 a.m. But today I was up at like 8. So, okay, here we are in Swords. I am very picky about Two of Swords, which is always a good time to bring out my little business card. If you guys want a reading from me, this is my information right here. Oh my god, I just realized I don't really have social media anymore, so I'm gonna have to like update my cards so that they don't say @Mixtress because my Instagram still exists, but I haven't used it in like 2 months, and I'm probably gonna delete it. Okay, there we go. Athena. Oh, I just didn't even talk about, I'm picky about Two of Swords, and then I just flipped the cards over. I think I can probably work with this one. I don't love, just my Libra symmetrical heart, I want to see these swords crossed up here. You know, I want to see that sort of like that beautiful aesthetic symmetrical composition. So the fact that they're crossed down by her dress, but I'm assuming they did that because they wanted that particular image. And I'm assuming that all of these are taken from existing art. So if you want this person, her hands are not doing the thing that you do in the Two of Swords. This is my card of the month, Four of Swords. I don't love the one in Intuitive Night Goddess. I like that we have like lavender. Is that lavender? It looks like lavender. And other flowers here that I should probably recognize. But I just don't love all the white in the image. I really like this one. Newt. Newt has an interesting story. It's kind of weird and incesty, but it's interesting. There's still so many, like as I'm going through this, still so many in Dark Goddess, so many goddesses that I have not actually read the guidebook for. I might actually keep this deck in order and start going through the guidebook just for myself. I hardly ever do that, and I feel like that would be, I mean, it's not like I neglect guidebooks, but I usually just, when I first get a deck and I start working with the deck, I'll do daily draws and I'll read the corresponding guidebook. But I do that for like a week or two, so I don't get through the entire guidebook. But it probably would make sense to just actually, I wish I was more patient. I'm sure a lot of you guys are. I wish I was more patient and I could like sit with a deck, not shuffle it immediately, just keep it in order and go through the guidebook and study the deck for a couple of weeks before I start using it. But I don't do that. I approach it much more intuitively. Usually I have a deck, like I've barely flipped through the whole thing before I start shuffling it because I'm just itching to shuffle. That's the first initiation I need to do with a deck. Gorgeous. I like this Nine of Swords because it gives you that sort of that familiar horizontal sword pattern without giving you the total anguish that you normally see in a Nine of Swords. And because 9 is my favorite number, just numerologically, I don't really like to see a lot of turmoil in a 9 card. And even though I have been so trained in Rider-Waite-Smith that I do see the 9 of Swords as an anxiety card, I would like to get away from that interpretation, actually. So I don't know. I'm experimenting with maybe not seeing the 9 of Swords as an anxiety card, which you really can't experiment with that if most of your decks show anxiety in the 9 of Swords. Like if you're going to read intuitively, if you're going to read based on looking at an image, which you are if you're reading tarot because you're looking at an image, then yeah, anyway. But this is gorgeous too. Anytime I see crows, I'm happy. One thing, I'm going to be showing you guys Lost Hollow Tarot pretty soon. I backed it on Kickstarter. I backed the pocket size version, and it's just too damn small. So I ordered the full size version. So I'm going to wait and show you the full size version, but it's got a lot of crow energy in that deck, which is exciting to me. I think this is my favorite nymph in this deck. I am obsessed. These look like swallows as far as like their body shape, but they have the coloring of bluebirds. I kind of love that combo. I love this nymph. This image is gorgeous. This might be my favorite card in the deck. I'm just very much at the beginning of my relationship with this deck, obviously, because all I'm really responding to at the moment is, this is a pretty image. This is not a pretty image, you know. Very much first impressions. Oh, my cards are going everywhere. I kind of like, she does give me, like, for me, Queen of Swords is Kali energy, and she does give me Kali energy. She just looks pissed off, but it's sort of like a righteous pissed off, you know? I'm just so into the idea of spirit as king. I really think I'm going to, like, that's going to stick with me. So if in future videos, when I'm flipping through decks, if I call King's spirit for some reason, other people that haven't seen this video will not know why I'm doing that, but you will. Gorgeous. I love the simplicity. Even though there's no hand, and I love a hand. I love seeing Hel. Hel is an intriguing goddess to me. She's one that when I first found out about her, I thought that I would really want to work with her. I still feel like I don't really work with any goddess. I just have like intellectual favorites. But I've made somewhat of a connection with like Kali, but like Hel is just one that like I love when I see Hel somewhere. I just think she's rad. Gorge. I love the idea of having a Hindu goddess with multiple arms as the Four of Pentacles. For some reason, that just instantly clicks in with me, and I could see myself like this being the iconic Four of Pentacles for me, because I don't think I have a current, like, I'm sure I picked a Four of Pentacles that I called my favorite in my recent like favorites video that I did for the Minor Arcana, but I don't remember which one it was because this one is blotting it out for me right now. Not super in love with this one, just because this particular style of dress, which I do not know what era this is from, looks like possibly Renaissance to me or Baroque, but sorry. For those of you that know, I'm sure that's infuriating that I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I just don't like that style of dress, and it distracts me. And I am, like, not really a fashion nerd because I don't know a lot about it, but, like, I have specific feelings about specific fashion. This is my first card pull from this deck. I love both of these, actually. I love this is one of my favorite cards in this deck because I like the color composition so much. And I actually really like Ereshkigal. Sure, I'm saying that wrong. I like that image. I'm just like the beauty in this Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot. This was like, I didn't know that this deck existed. It just like the Kickstarter just finished and it's now listed on her website, like I said. But it was like early last week, Moonbaby had like a walkthrough of this deck because he had backed it. Brant on Moonbaby had backed it on Kickstarter. And I just like, it was one of those rare moments where a Libra makes a decision very quickly. I just like saw it and I was like, pretty, goddess, intuitive, night, goddess, tarot. I love all of those words. Yes. And I just bought it immediately. Love both of these Nine of Pentacles. Gorge. This one kind of throws me just because It's so different from any other card in this deck, and it feels less collagey and more drawn. If there were more cards like this in the deck, this wouldn't bother me, but it kind of bothers me. Like, I like it as an image, as a Ten of Pentacles. I like it. I can work with it. But just when you consider the rest of the deck doesn't really look like this card, it just kind of bugs me a little bit. I still haven't completely wrapped my brain around the fact that, okay, Amazon is Paige. I haven't really connected to this Dark Goddess tarot. And I think that's okay. I think the way that I work with it doesn't really need a deep connection, since I use it mostly as a reference deck. But it's just kind of sad going through it right now that it's like, oh yes, okay. I had to like look in the guidebook last night, like, how does this go? Okay, witch is queen. Okay, I remembered that hag was king, but that's the only one I remembered in the court card associations in this deck. Look at the little bunny and the ram and the third eye. Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes. I just dropped my little pointer on the floor. Whatever, we're on the last card. We don't need it. So, yeah, this is definitely an unfair comparison, because for me, Intuitive Night Goddess wins because it's just going to be more usable for every day. But both of these decks are very well thought out, very gorgeous, very goddess decks. So hopefully, I don't know if anyone will be trying to decide between these two decks, but if you are, hopefully this helped you out. I will see you guys in the next one.